mabilis access niya sa funding and sa support if he aligns himself with the US, especially with the culminating in what could be the Pax Silica. Now, the Pax Silica is the best thing that can happen to Marcos.
Po na 4 na taon ng kasalukuyan pong administrasyon, Doc, marami pong mga legislative agenda na kanila pong inilatag at siguro hindi pa yata nangangalahati na sa legislative agenda ng mga priority po ang kasalukuyang administrasyon. Ano po ang nakikita nyo po sa mga legislative agenda ng administrasyong Marcos? Ito ba'y malaking impact o makatutulong sa ating mga kababayan?
Over the past 4 years na legislative agenda or the recent ones lang?
Opo, sa lahat na po, Doc, lalo na yung merong mga epekto kung meron man sa mga kababayan po natin.
That's a tall order. So let me just explain that I've not really been observing the Marcos administration as I've been outside, except for some very specific issues. For instance, in the aspect of rule of law and in the aspect of international relations. No. Sa aspect ng rule of law, yung legislative agenda of the Marcos administration has been sidelined by the most spectacular rendition of Duterte. And therefore, here, Marcos is sending a mixed signals. First, he is sending the signal to the left that they need to align with him if they are going to counter Duterte's rights or Sara Duterte's rights. At the same time, he was signaling to the international community that he is part of what is known as the universalization of the rule of law, not just in the region, but globally. So, naka-align yung kanyang agenda there in that particular aspect. But we have to bear in mind that the media became very quickly a captured media in the sense that hindi nilalabas yung mga violations na nangyayari against, for instance, religious leaders or against indigenous communities or against environmentalists na nag-o-oppose ng mga mining concessions and so on. So maraming nangyayaring ganun na in the past lalabas sa media. For instance, sa panahon ni Arroyo, sa panahon ni FDR, talagang at the forefront yung media in exposing those incidents. But sa time ni Marcos, na-capture na yung media agad, mainly because of oligarchic influence. And for that reason, natakpan yung mga ganung klaseng violations at the domestic setting. Pero globally, sa labas, mabango ang Pilipinas because of what Marcos did to Duterte. At the same time, it helped Marcos consolidate or get into an alliance with the left. Now, pagdating sa economy, I think Ma'am Guedote would be the better position to assess what happened over the past 4 years. Sa international relations naman, at first, na-realize ni Marcos na kailangan ang China na in terms of investments and so on. But then, mas mabilis access niya sa funding and sa support if he aligns himself with the US, especially with the culminating in what could be the Pax Silica. Now, the Pax Silica is the best thing that can happen to Marcos, not just in terms of international relations, but domestically, because Pax Silica requires a constitutional revision. Hindi talaga tayo makakapasok sa Pax Silica kung hindi natin tatanggalin yung provisions on military bases and the need for a referendum if we are going to establish a military base. And Pax Silica is essentially about producing drones prepositioning the supply chain towards the production of drones. It is not simply AI for electric vehicles and so on. This is essentially for drones. So, military yung kanyang application. So, at the same time, kailangan din ng PACSILCA na i-revise yung limitations on corporate ownership. Kasi hindi pwedeng mag-ooperate ng isang corporation na ang ownership is basically 100% US or 100% Japanese and so on. So,
Opo.
yun, this is the best excuse for Marcos to engage in a constitutional, this is going to be a constituent assembly, hindi siya pwedeng mag-convention. Mahihirapan siya. And the moment he speaks about PACSILCA in the SONA, that is going to be a signal for a constituent assembly.
So talking about Doc Loha is talking about constitutional amendment. So kailangan pa ba may constitutional amendment or the government will focus on the economic and governance reform?
I'm speaking about the constituent assembly to enable the passage of PACSILCA. This is an agreement that is under negotiation for I think for the next 2 years pa yata in-negotiate. But then, the necessary groundwork will have to be made. Ito yung legal regime for a PACSILCA. And to do that, you need a constitutional amendment or even a constitutional revision talaga.
Doc, no, yung kahalagahan po ng magandang foreign policy ng ating kasalukuyang administrasyon dahil ang architect niyan ay ang Pangulo po natin, lalo na po sa pagtulong nito sa ating ekonomiya. Malapit tayo sa Estados Unidos, yung kasalukuyang administrasyon, pero pinatawan tayo ng mataas na taripa. Yung kaibigan din natin na China, na matagal din natin na long-term natin na partner talaga no, sa trade, medyo lumalabo yung ating relasyon. Ano po ang nakikita niyo po dito, Doc?
But under Marcos administration, the foreign policy has not been a tool for economic development. Rather, it has been purely a geopolitical tool to position Marcos or the military along or aligned with the West, for instance, in particular Japan, Australia, and the US. Now, it should be a tool for economic development, and this was the case, for instance, at the time of Macapagal Arroyo and the time of Ramos, such as in the current situation that we find ourselves in, for instance, where we are buffeted by all sorts of global crises stemming from the conflict in West Asia, for instance. Yung foreign policy, it becomes all the more essential as a tool for survival, economic survival. But because of the foreign policy choices the government has made, our options or alternative mode of accessing resources that are becoming very difficult to provide ourselves with, nalilimit. For instance, hindi na natin ma-access ang Russian oil supply, especially as it is under sanctions. Yet we are not able to appeal to the US, for instance, for an exemption to the sanction. We are now not able to access anymore the Red Sea supply because the Yemeni forces has already sanctioned or closed that route as well. So, nalilimit na tayo in our supply options. At the same time, we did not develop our indigenous sources of oil supply. In particular, through, for instance, joint exploration man lamang with China, Vietnam, and all other claimants in the South China Sea. At the start pa lang, we ruled it out and took the militaristic option, the maximalist approach to the conflict by already singling out China and isolating China, and rather than negotiating with China, along with Vietnam and Malaysia. So our options are limited because of our foreign policy choices rather than using our foreign policy as a tool for alternative modes of development for the country.
Opo.
Now, let me just
Sige po.
Yeah, okay. Now, the SONA kasi, the usual notion of the SONA is that it is a blueprint for the future based on what was kulang sa past or the past year. Ideally, yun dapat yung na-mention ni Ma'am Guedote kanina. Yun ang magandang magiging SONA sana kung ito yung i-address ng mga issues in the economy, for instance. But as a realist, I consider myself a realist, I think that Marcos, at this stage of his presidency, his main goal is to survive. And therefore, he needs to already signal to his political base. And his political base does not include the masses. For which reason, I doubt very much he will, even if he does promise the masses all sorts of ameliorations, I doubt very much that he will carry through and implement them. Instead, I think he will need to assure his existing power base that he needs to stay in power and that they will benefit from the prolongation of his presidency. And this is already 2026, and he has just this year to make sure that happens.
Opo. Bago lang si Ma'am Cora, no? Baka may pahabol ka, Attorney Mark. Mabilis
Yes,
ang
yes,
pahabol
meron
lang bago
tayo.
natin pakawalan si Doc Loha.
So, Doc Loha, yung tinatawag, anong tinatawag, may legal and diplomatic implication ba yung ICC issues sa foreign investment in international relations po natin?
But sa ICC kasi, when the Marcos administration complied or subjected itself to the jurisdiction of the ICC, immediately nag-signal siya ng adherence to what is known basically as the European universalization of human rights norms. So ito yung nag-a-align kagad siya doon sa European camp. Now, in terms of domestically, of course, talagang ang perception is surrender of sovereignty yun. So, pagdating sa other foreign relations aspect naman, not necessarily sa ICC, magkakaroon ka ng contradiction. For instance, if with ASEAN, hindi ka nag-a-adhere sa kanilang policies of consensus, for instance, yet masyado kang nag-a-adhere sa European notions of human rights na dapat universal. Kasi yun nga yung premise ng more or less universal jurisdiction ng ICC. So, right now, we are seen in ASEAN as too aligned with the West and not necessarily aligned with the ASEAN values known as in Asia, for instance, as one which is based on consensus rather than submission of your jurisdiction, of your sovereignty to a foreign jurisdiction.